instead of just the typical vlogs that I'm trying to put out, I thought I would do one just specifically on screen printing. If you're interested in screen printing or looking for screen printing tips, I thought today I would share a couple with you. Screen printing itself, it is a manual process unless you got an automatic. You can do manual or automatic. Automatic tends to offer a lot more colors. Manual, you can go up to 8 colors. My press is a 4-color, 4 platen press. It's actually one of the older versions, and I found it used. I was gonna buy a new press, but I actually ended up talking to a friend, and his parents actually had one and were willing to let it go. So I actually got a killer deal on mine, and then I upgraded things throughout the shop. Now, you can pretty much do screen printing in a smallish space. A lot of people do it in their garage, do it in their basement, downstairs. I would say if you're doing small space, try to invest in the things that make life easier. For me, when I first started, I couldn't keep the room I was in hot enough to even dry my emulsion, and that was kind of a problem. Plus, the area wasn't very clean. So for a little bit there, for the first few jobs, I had a really hard time getting my screen's emulsion to set up. Also, the equipment I bought, which was the press, the dryer, an exposing unit, washout station, and a couple other things, a bunch of screens and stuff. The exposing unit was really old. It was it wasn't black, was it? No, it wasn't blacklit. It was just a UV exposing unit, and I would spend like 3 or 4 minutes exposing my stuff, and I didn't really know much about it. I didn't even know if I was overexposing any of that stuff. I didn't really have any clue what I was doing. So one of the first things I upgraded was I got a drying cabinet, and then I actually had been working with Ryonet, screenprinting.com, and I had been looking for an exposing unit, and it was during where everything was like really hard to ship out. They had said, oh, we have one sitting here that just has a little ding in it. If you want it, you can have it. I said, yeah, heck yeah, I'll take it. I will say that Ryonet as a whole has really helped me in my screen printing process, from finding the equipment I need to just being great people to work with. The rep I originally had was from Texas, but one of their main offices in Washington. And when we went down south in November, we actually got to go see the Washington office, meet a bunch of the people, see where they record their YouTube videos. It was pretty cool. Now the guy I work with is in Washington, and he's been great. The one thing I don't have in my screen printing shop is a conveyor dryer, and it's really because I have a garage door and it slopes down. It's really weird. I'm trying to build something on it. But my other concern is just space. I am running out of space when I do so many garments. Like just getting our retail store ready this year, I've printed almost 4,000 garments. And that's a lot, and our spaces gets taken up a lot by boxes. Just know that you can do stuff without every single high-end piece. Like I cure my stuff with the air dryer. It works great. All my stuff has held. I have worked with Ryonet and watched videos about how you could do it. The conveyor dryer is more convenient because you can just take the piece off and put it on, where I have to take everything after I cure it, rerun it back through. I rerun it back through on the heat press off the platen so air gets through. The one thing that I have liked is that I do have an airflow. It's an older version, but I have the airflow kit, which is pretty much the flash unit that they recommend for water base, but it works great for plastisol too. So how I run my stuff is I just pretty much flash print, and then I just leave it under the flash. I set my temp to about 60. Everyone has their own ways. I haven't had any issues doing it this way. So don't scold me if your way's better. I push, I don't pull. I do things a little different, but it's worked out. I mean, I think that my wastage or failed shirts and stuff have been very minimal. Most of the printing I do is one color, so it tends to not be a huge deal. For my inks, I do use Ryonet's FN ink. Again, FN has kind of gotten mixed bag reviews. There's a few Facebook groups I follow, and some people really hate on it, but again, it works really well for me. The only FN product I don't use is their gold. I tried it. I ordered a gallon because I have been using Wilflex, and I wanted to get, because FN is a low curable ink, I was hoping to achieve the same drying temperature, but honestly Wilflex Gold has worked. I'm sure that, you know, they take feedback and are updating their formulas and trying to make it right, but for me it really got stuck in my screen, and it wasn't the same kind of shimmer look that I have on the Wilflex for the stuff I use. So I've kept with that. For registration, my wife found a template that just has a square with a couple lines. There is some software we even use that can do some really trick registrations, but I have found that this works really well. The machine stays on register really well. I forgot what Riley Hopkins this was. This isn't their newest one though. It's a pretty old machine. I'd say it's at least 10 years old. But the fact is that when you're starting out, if you can get something that's doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and it's, you know, and you can find something, or you can get a good starter kit. It looks like they just released a 250 that was a Lee Stewart signature model that looks very promising. It says they used a lot of stuff from their next model up and trying to make it for I'm not sure what the price points are, but probably what I paid for my whole kit, you could get that. But if you're looking for a whole kit out the gate, you know, and you don't mind going used on some stuff, you know, people are stopping every day. You could find deals all the time depending on where you are and what area you're in, and then just kind of upgrade, piece together. That's what I did. I mean, I started with my drying unit, which was crucial for me because that unit will basically make it so I can expose screens in 30 minutes. Normal room, even at 80 degrees, they recommend 8 hours. So I cut my screen drying time from 8 hours to 30 minutes. And then I can wash my screens, I can put them back in there. Exposing unit now takes 32 seconds as compared to 3 minutes I was probably doing. So just upgrading the things as you can will make a huge difference. The only thing that I haven't upgraded really is the press and the dryer. And I've looked at conveyor dryers. I thought about getting one. It's still probably my plans. I just don't know that I'm going to be able to make it work in this room. Not only that, but during the summer it gets really hot, and having another source of heat, even in a place like Alaska, can get a little rough. And so in this method has worked for me. With registrations, I got off track. A lot of people do things different. I just use some test shirts. I register down. I really lock in my micro registrations. I press down. I can see it. I've gotten pretty good to where I can get it really close. Especially with my stuff, with the stuff we print for the retail side, I've gotten so good about registering and knowing where the registration is that I don't go through many test shirts trying to get registered, you know, because I can just move it around to a different spot, clean out the registration mark a little bit if I have to. So if you are looking to get into screen printing, and you can find products that, you know, if you're don't have the funds to make a huge investment and get everything new, look around in your local market, see what you can find used, and then just start upgrading it piece by piece. That's what I did, and I'm still happy. You know, I thought for sure this year I would have a new press, but it just hasn't. I haven't had the need, and why spend the money when I'm just printing. You know, as they say, it's like printing dollar bills, right? Once you've made off that payment and that initial payment is done for, or you've done a job that can pay for that stuff over the time, especially if you're not on loan, like I paid cash for pretty much all this equipment. I don't think I have a single loan on any of the equipment I bought for screen printing. That it doesn't take long to start seeing that return of investment. Of course, it is a very competitive market, so you know there's all those things. For us, a lot of the reason I still print constantly is because of the brand, which works for me. Because this is all paid for, I don't need to be running jobs all the time. Sure, it's great. I'll make money when the jobs come in, but it's not something I need to do. Like with my digital press, where I have an actual loan on, I need to be making money every month on that to pay for the loan, to make some money off of it. This I could let sit for 2 months and be perfectly fine because everything's paid for. Not that I ever have. I'm pretty much constantly printing, whether it's art stuff or the jobs I do take. Um, and so, you know, if you're looking to get into these things, just look around, figure out how you can get in for a good price point that you can afford, so you don't get over your head. Part of being a successful business person is knowing how to take calculated risks, taking those calculated risks, and growing from that. Do a job, do a couple jobs, then buy the next thing you need. Do, you know, take a little bit, put some away to pay for your bills, and then invest in your equipment as you can. And then as you slowly grow those things, you're going to get more jobs. You're going to get more, you know, people talking about you. You're going to be able to have some more money for marketing what you're doing, and your business will grow. I think where most businesses fail is that they all jump in head first, and me too, even at times. You know, I've had lots of gear I buy new, mostly on the photo and video side, but I've had tons of gear I've bought new, and as I started to realize that certain things I could get used and still works good, I started doing that because we're seeing a better return of our investment quicker. You know, so when you're starting a business, whether it's screen printing or whatever, think about what risk are you willing to take, and what you could do. Look around. Don't be shy about checking out other gear. Find places in your market. Go on Craigslist, whatever. Find Facebook groups. Any way you can to try to figure out how you could get something that will help you in the business, but also you can see your money return back to you quicker. We all feel better when we're making return of our investment, and it's not like we're always just down. Learn little tricks, like what works for you and your machine. You can watch videos all day long, but unless you play with stuff, like the big debate of pushing and pulling, I realize I like to push. I don't see any difference in the quality of the stuff I do. I don't have a conveyor dryer. A lot of people do. I just take a little bit more time and rerun it through my flash unit because I can cure them that way. I have very few fails on the way I do my process, and I don't have to pay, you know, a new conveyor dryer. I could find one used, but for where I live, it's hard to find most stuff because it's going to come up. Now, if the people I bought it from had a conveyor dryer, that would have been great. But since my space is limited and I don't really want to pay the money for something that I feel like the return of that investment is minimal, I'm just going to keep doing what I do. So as you start these endeavors or you learn stuff, just find out what works for you. You know, you could watch 100 YouTube videos and find 100 different ways of how you should register something. You know, like for me, I just have found it easier just to use a blank t-shirt. Buy test shirts. You can get them for 50 cents $1 if you have a SAMR account. Set you up trade accounts. You know, build good reputations. Have your trade accounts. Get on 30-day credit if you can. And that's how you run things. Another big one that I learned when I started the business is if you are doing stuff like t-shirts and stuff, get a Uline trade account. It's one of the easiest 30-day accounts you can get. You can start building your credit. Get a Duns and Bradbury number. Get yourself a Uline account. Make an order. Pay it off. Even if you pay it off the next day that you were going to pay cash, you're building your accounts. You're building your credit. You know, those things I think are huge. Don't be afraid. Why run all cash if you can build these accounts and hold on to your cash for emergencies, or hold on to them until you need to pay off the stuff and build your credit for the next thing. So when you do decide that you want to expand or grow or get something new, you have the ability to do that. Now I'm going to get back printing, so why don't you come join me and we'll print some t-shirts. Next print's just going to be one color. Here, let me readjust this. There we go. Next print's just going to be one color. So let's get on it. One colors are real easy. Let me bring you over here. Let me see. Let's see here. Sorry. I want to pull you up the tripod. There we go. Alright. Professional stuff right here. You would think I was a filmmaker. So this is the next design. We call this one Catch Can OG. Basically what I like to do is when you're doing your stuff, I like to find my mark, which is 3 inches down. I have my highest point there. I got my center marks, as I mentioned, center, and obviously can, you know, it can be slightly moved slightly. It's not gonna matter too much. You're talking millimeters. And then what I like to do is I'll get my first one set up, and then I'll set up all my other platens. See if I can do this while holding. See how this one's higher. Usually I have my laser. And you know, your lines may not always be matched from each one, from each platen to each platen. In theory it's supposed to, but that's not always going to be the case. I just like to know that if my first one's lined up, it's most likely going to be straight. Now, is that the right way? I don't know, but it's the way I do it, and I haven't seen any shirts that have been crooked in that sense. Could be a few different things. My platen may not be tightened right lined enough, but if I go back to this one, this is the one I matched it up to. I mean, it matches, right? So I matched it up to that one. That's all that really matters to me. As long as that line is straight, which it is, then we're good. See, we get back to match up. So that one I may have drawn before may not have been straight, but that's fine. Now we're going to match up the platens where they need to be. And so pretty much, you know, different machines do different things, but mine is here. I'll put my press in. I'll get it tight. I'll move my sleeves around and get it kind of where I want it. And then if I need to do any micro adjustments, mine doesn't do offset, X and Y. It just does left and right, or yeah, it doesn't do up and down. It just does left, right to move this. That's mostly, I mostly just use that if I need to, if it moves a little bit when after I've tightened the initial stuff, or if I'm registering multicolored prints. So, okay. Just, yeah, I'm gonna get back to printing.